Hello, and we're live. We John pops on about zero point 0.8 seconds ago, and I'm like, go, and we hit the ground running. So it is the AI Revolution call, somewhat weekly, Mondays, 5 p.m. Eastern, most weeks. Bryce and I have, since the last time we did this show, we've been completely around the world. Went to Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Hong Kong, and on home through left from Albuquerque to New York and came home to Albuquerque through San Francisco.
Around the world.
Around the world.
80 something.
No, in 12 days. But yeah, it was great. Learned a lot. We'll certainly some of that will be applied. Some of what we learned and saw. I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about EVs slash AI in China today. But in the meantime, let's do intros. I'm Cody Willard. That's Bryce Smith. We work at 10,000 Days Hedge Fund. And John Dio, who has been in the AI industry for 30-something years.
He's being funny. He keeps upping the years. But, it's 20-something.
Yeah.
So every time a little gets added on there.
Well, days go by.
Time is passing, yeah.
Yeah, right? Like it is. It's been a longer amount of time this week than it was 3 weeks ago.
John, have you heard about the significance of the passage of time?
I believe that the significance of the passage of time is significant as time passes because time is significant.
You know the reference there?
Yes.
Well, I think we should be unburdened by what has been.
Okay, all right. You got it.
Why? It's like low-hanging fruit. Like that's too easy.
Yeah.
The AI revolution, not the political nonsense revolution.
Anti-revolution.
Yeah, the unrevolution, the nothing ever changes revolution. Though, so let's talk. John, latest news, AI continue rolling along. There's been a little bit, I think, Wall Street has pulled back a little bit in its fervency and overall thrust of, yes, AI is going to work out amazingly well. I think there's actually gotten to be some fear, uncertainty, and doubt building in the system a little bit, but not much yet. I think we could get a little more. Still waiting for a shoe to fall at Microsoft, which is still throwing tens of billions of dollars into ChatGPT's coffers, and then Microsoft gets to recognize tens of billions of dollars in high margin cloud business from the company they just gave the money to, giving it back to them for cloud services.
Yeah, well, I mean, whatever kind of shell game is going on with that. But, I mean, it may be a healthy thing to back off a little from irrational exuberance, but OpenAI had a quite significant release, and it doesn't. It's not like ChatGPT in the sense that it's very obvious to the world and, oh, look, 100 million users, that kind of thing. But it is their most major thing they've done since ChatGPT. And what's interesting about it, and I'm talking about a thing they call O1. So before they had ChatGPT 4 with an O, and the O meant Omni, and Omni meant it's like, visual and audio and this kind of stuff. This new thing is neither visual nor audio. Those will work their way back into it. But what it is that thing that was all a secret last year and was called QStar, and then more recently was called Strawberry. So that came out, and at first it looked like, and but with more time, it looked like, oh wait, this is kind of interesting.
Like what? What have you played with it that you went, hey, that's better than it used to be?
Yeah, it's able to basically behave, answer questions, do things, solve problems, etc., at about a PhD student level now, which it wasn't. Before it was, lucky to be college student. And so there are examples of actual scientists now using it as a coworker in genetics and protein folding, and it's not even a specialist in those things. It just does it. It's being used by Terrence Tao, who is the smartest man in the world. He has the highest IQ of anybody on the planet. So he's known to be pretty sharp. He doesn't give it as high a rating, but he thinks it's pretty damn neat. And what's interesting
so
is that
you're sort of underscoring what I think what the malaise on Wall Street is developing here is, okay, great, it's a little smarter, right? And that's great, but it feels a little incremental at this point. And Bryce has talked a lot about how Blackwell, the new chipset from platform update from NVIDIA, hasn't even started training any of this stuff yet.
Yeah.
And that we hope and expect might actually be a little more than incremental and a little more than, hey, under the hood, it actually is getting some stuff more right than more wrong, which I think is sort of what O1 has been.
I think it's more than incremental. I think it's, if you look at it, basically they can't even use the old benchmarks. It's like, yeah, we're past all those, and they had to kind of introduce new benchmarks. So it is on a next level. And what's more important though, is it does things, I think, differently. So it's not like it's all trained up front, and then however smart it is, that's what it is. And then it sits there with that fixed amount of smart, and then just, answers questions using that. No, now about half of its smarts happens while you're using it. And the more that it thinks. And so it's kind of slow to respond, actually. And while it's doing that, it's going through, and you can see that it's thinking about multiple different things, trying this, that's not working, so I'm going to go do that. So there's this end of kind of what was called chain of thought, which was this thing where you, as the person writing the prompt, would say, I want you to go through these steps of thinking in order to go do something. It goes through its own steps, and those steps themselves are learning. So, sorry, just a second. So what's going on there is, and improving as it's used, is like what went on with the training of being able to play Go, those kinds of things. So so basically it's on a path now to actually getting smarter, not just as a result of more data, but as a result of experience.
Interesting. All right.
It's definitely slower, John. You're right about that.
Yeah, they knew that going in.
Yeah, no, it takes, like, it sits there and it tells you it's thinking about this. Now it's going to analyze this, and it kind of walks you through the steps, like, in real time before it actually spits out an answer. But personal opinion, and at least what I do, it's not very different than the 4.0. But I'm going to defer to you, John, if you think it is a lot better. I'll take your word for it.
Well, it certainly is interesting to hear that it's doing more of the inference and training in real time than beforehand.
Yeah, it's a different kind of thinking.
Yeah.
I did see.
Go ahead, Bryce.
A little bit different, but Anthropic is in talks to raise a bunch of money at a $30 to $40 billion valuation. The information reported 18 minutes ago.
Seems low.
Seems low.
Seems like a low valuation.
Well, yeah, OpenAI, they also reported, a few weeks ago, was in talks to raise at a $150 billion valuation. So, yeah, they're not OpenAI. And then also there's a lot of weird stuff that's happened. Like Sam Altman is working with the iPhone designer to maybe design a new piece of AI specific hardware. So,
yeah, that's been
like, what is Sam Altman doing with his time? I don't. He just starts companies, like he's a professional.
It's a little like Elon Musk.
He's a wannabe Elon Musk. He's doing his reverse SPACing through a company he's already the chairman of, with the companies created with the SPAC to take companies public. Nothing that Sam Altman ever feels above board.
like he runs OpenAI, right? He has a chip startup maybe in the works. Now he has a hardware iPhone competitor in the works.
He's chairman of a nuclear
Yeah, he's got an
power
Opal
company.
nuclear SPAC.
I heard Microsoft was going to go start a power plant on 3 Mile Island.
Well,
Yeah.
they're just turning it back on. Yeah.
Yeah. But like, so Sam Altman's
What could possibly go wrong?
4 or 5 things that he's got his hand in, supposedly.
Yeah. You know, Bryce, it's interesting on our trip around the world, we talked a lot about like U.S. politics. We received a lot of questions from investors about U.S. politics, technology investing, what we do, robotics, EVs, but AI did not really come up very much. It wasn't I don't know that we took and fielded any questions specifically about AI in 12 days.
No,
It was
we talked about
AI?
NVIDIA, the chip part, but not really the actual ChatGPT or Gemini, anything like that.
Well, it could be baked in, and it's not even. It's like, yeah, they already think it's on its way, whatever. I mean, robotics, that's not counting as AI.
Somewhat, but I'm just saying where we are AI right now, you know, like Tesla and others are trying to get to AI robotics revolution being real, but the AI as we do it now is LLMs and it is ChatGPT, and the words ChatGPT, OpenAI, I don't think came out of our mouths one time, maybe 3 times. I don't know.
Yeah, we would talk about it like when we were presenting and like why we don't like Microsoft, things like that. But yeah, they definitely, like you said, we didn't field any questions.
Yeah, which I don't know what the takeaway on that. I find that surprising in retrospect. I would have thought it would be because, you know, like when I read analyst notes on Wall Street, you know, from sell side guys, the brokerage firms, like every note is AI is front and center. Is it going to pay back period going to be okay? Are we going to get the applications and services we need soon enough? Or the bubble is here, got to buy because the Fed's cutting and AI is going. Like all of that stuff seems to be standard in the US, and overseas it was an afterthought. I don't think people were like AI centric about like, hey, the markets, the thoughts about the markets weren't, hey, AI is here and going to change the world.
That's true. I wonder what ChatGPT's usage is like overseas. Is it in every country? I don't even know.
I don't either.
I showed one night at dinner, I pulled up the app on my phone and showed some of the guys how it could make a PowerPoint just from a text prompt. They had never seen that before. I said, like, this guy did startup investing. I said, make a presentation about startup investing in Europe, and bam, bam, crank out like 6 or 7 slides. And everybody at the table I showed was like, oh my God, that's amazing.
And then similarly, on note-wise at least, we also were shocked at how few people had ever been in a Tesla and specifically had ever used full self-driving, which shouldn't be that shocking because full self-driving is not completely available in China and Hong Kong, where we saw more Teslas than we've seen, at least per capita. It was amazing the number of Tesla in Hong Kong. And then I stopped by the Tesla store one day and people were in there buying Teslas and picking up their Teslas, and it was hopping. But I think one of the things so I'm going to say it out loud, like what the takeaway here partly is it really is always shocking how slow the world is to embrace technological revolutions when they happen. Bryce and I have talked before in our writings recently, and probably even here, about how when Netflix started going streaming instead of just DVD shipping, and it was clear that was going to be the future.
I got to hop off for a second.
What kind of bullshit is that? Oh man, we need his AI personality here.
Well, let's field a question about Tesla since John's gone.
All right.
Tesla robo-taxi event expectations and stock price forecast, go.
Are you going to remember where I was and what I was just about to say?
Yeah, you were
What
saying
was it?
how slow the rest of the world
Yes.
is.
All right. Don't let me forget that. We will come back to it.
Okay.
The question, as prompted, Tesla Robotaxi event expectations. I mean, I think let's talk generalized expectations and then our expectations. I think the general world is sort of like, Elon Musk again. How many times is this guy going to do a Robotaxi AI day and disappoint his investors and promise that the things that you're going to be able to send your car out and generate revenue with your Tesla as it drives people around like an Uber? And my personal expectations is probably somewhere in that universe. I have PTSD from the last 2 or 3 times Elon has had these full self-driving AI robo-taxi bullshit days. And we come in and he's like, yeah, we're close. And then he's got a guy in a robot outfit dancing or some shit. And you're like, what? You don't like money, Elon? Because we're going to need more than just showing up and being like, hey, yeah, look, here's what the app's going to look like one day. And so I don't know. I have to step back and answer the question, obviously, as objectively as I can. And I've been thinking about this a lot because Tesla's our largest position, as it has been for 5 years in the hedge fund. And I'm nervous about the day. I can't imagine it's going to live up to the hype. But then when I step back and I'm like, well, the fact is, when even me has no hype into the meeting, maybe there is no hype. So, I mean, the stock's been trading up and doing well heading into this meeting. October 6th, is that the date, Bryce?
10th, 10/10.
October 10th. So what are your thoughts, Bryce? Where are you on Tesla?
Yeah, I guess I'm going to take the other side that something amazing does come of it simply because they've always flopped. That's it.
And as Elon would say, the most ironic outcome is often the most likely.
Yeah.
And the most ironic outcome would be that he actually shows up and they release full self-driving robo-taxi in 10 cities across the world. And you're in Indianapolis on Tuesday night in 2 weeks. And you're like, hey, look at the Model 3 that my buddy put in the system's coming to pick me up right now. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Or just even that, it's in one city. So that would be, I think that would be more than the market is expecting. If, like you said, they could go to Austin or something and have a pilot program and they have 100 cars ready to go to start driving around or something like that, low speed limit, no interstate, no, fenced off area. I don't know that they'll do that, but I think that would be more than the market's expecting.
I would agree. That would be more like the market, like me, basically expects a flop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You do think though that they'll roll out a new car, a dedicated car with no steering wheel or no pedals, or what do you think? No?
Yeah, I think that sounds probably like what might the event, and they're like, yeah, look, and maybe they'll keep a steering wheel for the first year, 2 years or something, or maybe knowing Elon, he'll just be, nah, man, we'll get there. We're building a steering wheel-less car. And I think that would be, I think the market that would be a non-event. I think the market will be like, oh, great. Yeah, a new model someday.
Yeah.
And I think then the stock would be down 5 or 10% the next day.
Yeah.
But if they release a working prototype of even 100 cars in just one city, the stock, I think, could work. I don't know that it will be up 5 or 10% the next day, but I think I don't think it'd sell off. I think the market would actually be like, hey, they're actually developing something and getting there. And that would be a relief for investors. And it would probably I do think Tesla remains very underowned among the average tech investor. Certainly in the professional side, very few hedge funds are overweight Tesla, much less equal weight Tesla.
Yeah.
A lot of them don't own it at all.
Another question here, if you want to take it.
Let's do it.
What do you think of Elon's Neuralink?
Amazing. It's putting a chip in someone's head. I always do think it's funny that for years, everybody's been worried that Bill Gates is putting chips in your head through vaccines or something. And then the other richest guy on the planet who is literally like, hey, we're going to put chips in your head.
Yeah.
He's literally doing it. But yeah, I mean, look, if it is enabling human beings with who do not have the ability to move their hands and arms and to communicate very well to communicate better. Like and that's, on our tour, Bryce, every talk I gave, I would try to remember to talk about the fact that Amaris, my daughter, who has trisomy 13, probably would not have made it to birth, and certainly would not have made it through the first year if she were born 20 or 30 years ago, because the technological advancements that have taken place over my lifetime, your lifetime, and her lifetime are incredible, and they have real world impact on people's, human beings, individual and collective lives, and makes them better, makes them live longer, enables a better world. And the Neuralink is already doing that for a handful of, 2 or 3 people, I think, at this point. And yeah, so you can imagine a world in 5, 10, 20 years where more people are able to better and more effectively and do things cognitively and physically because of Neuralink that they're not able to do today.
If Neuralink were to come public today, what do you think the valuation would be?
It's interesting because you almost have to give it like an Elon discount instead of Elon.
I don't know. I still think he gets an Elon premium.
Elon,
look at how he raised money for XAI.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm being somewhat facetious on that, but yeah, look, I would think 100 billion easy, 200 billion even. I think, Boring Company is worth 30 or 40 billion if it came public, and Neuralink's a hell of a lot more exciting with a lot more potential upside than Boring.
I mean, that's a big. Well, so what do you think SpaceX's market cap would be then if it came public? It has a $212 billion valuation right now.
Yeah, I'd say easily over $500 billion. I think it'd be let's call it $500 billion, $500 billion market cap if SpaceX were publicly traded.
Wow.
Yeah. You disagree?
I think that'd be a lot, just based on what I know about that. I mean, it's already trading at like 20 or 30 times sales, right? In the private markets, I think it has like 5 billion in revenue or 6 billion in revenue, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, you truly have to sort of separate Starlink and SpaceX as two different businesses. But I mean, I think Starlink itself has got to be worth 200 billion already. And then I think SpaceX is a monopoly on the large launch, successful human beings launching, getting to moon, getting to Mars. Like Rocket Lab still has their small rockets that they successfully can send small things to orbit, just a few at a time.
Yeah.
Whereas SpaceX is in its own realm, and the growth of the space economy is going to be huge in the next 10 to 20 years. I just can't imagine that you wouldn't give the non-Starlink side of SpaceX also a $200 billion market cap. So 200 and 200, we're already at 400 billion. Throw the Elon premium on, and you're close to 500 billion.
Wow. Well, I do think we lost John. He got called back into a work meeting, I think. So.
Well, that's a shame.
Yeah.
But then let's go back to our point real quick about the Netflix. It's always shocking to me how 2008, 2009, Disney, Comcast, everyone on the planet. There's even a clip of me in like 2006 on CNBC talking about the TV revolution and how cable TV will die. And Carl Quintanilla, it's like, what are you saying? Our job's going to go away? And I'm like, no, CNBC, the content will survive.
Yeah.
But the distribution will go differently than over cable networks being paid for, for bundled 150 channels. Like, and that is clearly played out. We've empowered the end user over years, as the internet and economies are wont to do. But it wasn't until 2021, like a full more than a decade later, before Disney was like, hey, we'll start our own Disney Plus streaming service. And that's probably what AI, everything accelerates because Kurzweilian human beings, acceleration of technological advancement and adoption. But that's probably, we'll be shocked in 5 years that Coca-Cola is just finally implementing most incredibly obvious AI solutions.
Yeah. I saw, I did read an interview. I sent it to you about, it was with the Bristol Myers Squibb chief technology officer. And he was being asked how they're using AI. And they're used AlphaFold 2 is Google's open source like protein Gen AI thing that DeepMind created. And he said they use it every day. He said not in the way that people think, like they're necessarily making new drugs, but just to learn about drugs that they already have or like known molecules and study how they interact with different compounds or how they have an effect on this disease or that disease. He says it's incredibly helpful. But I mean, there are things that are happening in the real world where companies are using AI, but it's probably not as prevalent as the media and maybe investors would expect right now.
Right, and it's not creating a ton of revenue for whoever is providing that AI service. I
mean, AlphaFold is free. It's they're using the open source version still. So
yeah. I mean, but again, it's like the first pitch of the first inning.
Right.
So that's sort of my point, is it's so early on that people in Abu Dhabi who are forward-thinking technology investors are barely even realizing how far-reaching and ubiquitous this AI technology will be on customer service, customer retention, supply chain, marketing, content creation, content distribution, drugs, personalized drugs, the new drugs, accelerated development of new drugs. It's so far reaching, and I don't know. I mean, the amount of money being spent on it at this moment is also the biggest, I think, thing that we have to keep coming back to, the fact that there will be $250 billion worth of capital expenditures on equipment, data centers, chips, software, et cetera, to make all this AI stuff run. And that's just over this year, next year, and maybe part of the year after. And this stuff usually doesn't slow down.
yeah,
Right? Like it's conceivable that it will be hundreds of billions of dollars on an annualized basis in 5 years, which then what does the size of the U.S. economy need to be to generate enough AI related revenues to get payback for that kind of capital expenditure in a reasonable amount of time?
yeah,
I don't know. It is daunting when you look at how much is going to have to be how much revenue is going to have to be generated. But when you think about the fact that nobody is even using it yet, you can see that there is potential to get there.
yeah. Well, even like we make fun of the ChatGPT at $20 a month, but if there was 1 billion users paying $20 a month, that's 20 billion in revenue. Like that's a lot, right?
It's not a lot. It's not nothing, but that's.
I mean, it'd be $240 billion annualized. That's like almost a third of what Amazon does in a year. So that's
all right, but again, like it's a big number, but it's not 30 trillion. It's not 3 trillion. I think we got to get to trillions to make all this start to have reasonable paybacks.
Yeah, I just think if you did that, if you're doing that kind of a run rate in revenue, even 70, 75% gross margins, and then you put a 20 multiple on that, you've got $1 trillion company, you know?
Are there a billion middle class or higher on the wealth curve in the world right now? I bet there is. I bet it's 1.5 billion, maybe 2 billion people in middle class.
Yeah, that would be a high penetration rate.
It would be a very high penetration rate. It'd be like cell phone usage.
Yeah, and I think how many iOS devices are there? Are there
2 trillion, 3 trillion, I think.
No,
I read.
no, devices, billion.
Oh, billion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I want to say there's 2 billion iOS devices or something.
Let's
like
look it up. Number of iOS devices. Yeah, 2.2 billion.
Yeah, and most people have more than one, so maybe there's a billion people that have iOS devices somewhere.
Right. I mean, a billion of them, like your grandfather Hoot ain't paying $20 a month for an AI service in his lifetime. I don't think that bridge is going to get crossed.
Yeah. Yeah. I was visiting my grandmother, and I was looking at her phone, and because she had some problem, and she had Chat GPT on there. I was like, Grandma, you have Chat GPT on your phone? She's like, what's that? And she's like, you must have put that on there sometime back. I'm like, oh yeah, I probably did. I forgot. I really thought she was using Chat GPT somehow. And she's 82 years old,
Yeah, that would be surprising. Yeah. She is impatiently waiting for the full self-driving Tesla.
Oh, she can't wait. She wants to order a Tesla like right now.
Yeah. She should. You should do that. Get her to do it.
Yeah.
Bet on the future, because it'll be the price of full self-driving is going up if there's a test that going underway that's working.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. You like the Tesla, Bryce? Bryce got a Tesla, everybody, with full self-driving.
I did.
Yeah.
Is you about a new to me Tesla. It's very, very new, very low mileage, and I love just driving. The cars are great, and I drive a Ford F-350. Like, I'm not like a car guy, but for driving, driving in city traffic and tight streets and small parking spaces, like, it's amazing to have a car. And then the Tesla in and of itself is amazing. It's high quality. It's like everybody I've shown the car to is like thoroughly impressed. And then the FSD, I already knew the FSD was amazing, but just using it every day.
Full self-driving, you have to tell people. But not everybody knows.
Full self-driving, and I don't even have the latest software, so my car's only got 12.3 on it. And
did you not get the update today? I just got the 12.5 installed on mine today.
Oh, really? I didn't. At least I haven't seen it come through on the app yet.
Yeah. Did you go in on the car itself and say, I want the latest version, beta test? Let me be a tester.
Yeah.
Was it already there when you were asking me about it the other day?
No, but I don't know. At some point I went and checked, and it did say it was already, like, you could say normal or advanced or something like that. Yeah. And it was set to advanced. So here's another question.
Bryce, how is the Tesla AI piece coming along? What Tesla AI piece?
Is he like maybe Dojo AI?
I wonder if he's thinking you and I. We have a book, the Ultimate Tesla book, already in the bookstore.
Yeah. There's the Ultimate Tesla book and the Everything You Need to Know About the AI Revolution book too. And we talk about Tesla a lot in there.
Let's try to answer the question: how is Tesla AI doing? I mean, the thing about Tesla, unlike everyone else on the planet, is that Tesla is spending all of their money, time, and energy in the AI world to deal with the physical world and not LLM models and making text to speech better or something. Mm-hmm. It is all based upon the full self-driving / Optimus robot future, where it uses machine learning to create machines that interact with the real world effectively.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they have a huge lead because they have tens of billions of dollars and several years worth of dedication. Oh, thanks. Worth of trying to make that full self-driving AI a platform that works. And I'm excited. I mean, if and when this actually all comes together for Tesla, it's a multi-trillion-dollar market cap.
Yeah. Even today, the Tesla Twitter handle was tweeting out videos of the Actually Smart Summon, ASS, and showing how it can drive, like, I don't know, a couple hundred feet maybe around the parking lot, or maybe 300 feet. They extended the range. And and just like literally the car drives itself without anybody in it through, out of the parking spot and pulls over to the front of the grocery store, and the guy throws his bags in the back and gets in and drives off. Like, you can, if you can see that happening, like, it's not hard to picture down the road where the car drives itself outside of the parking lot.
Do you remember how, I remember when I started taking Tesla serious 5 or 6 years ago at this point, and being like, no, they really think they're going to have full self-drive. What? Like, they think the cars are going to drive themselves? And then a couple years later, or thereabout, I was in Vegas with Neil Patrick Harris on the CES show, and we had Aptiv and Lyft had partnered up, and they were doing a full self-driving tour thing, and they gave Neil a promotional thing to come by and test it out and get photographed and videoed and everything, and
Hey, look.
it worked, but not well back then. And Johnny's back. Well, we were about to wrap it up. Shit, John.
Now you got to tell me everything that happened. I'm sorry, guys. I had a bit of an emergency.
That's all right. Was it work related?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair.
It was. Yeah. So where did you guys? Oh, well, let me contribute something here. Can you hear my audio if I play something?
Yes.
Should be able to.
Let's see.
No.
Yeah, we're not hearing it.
We could hear your phone ring earlier.
Well, that's interesting. I wonder if I share a link, I'll tell you what it is. Bryce.
This is bad TV, John. You came on and now you're just sitting
Hold it up.
there
I'll tell you what it is.
tasting stuff. Bryce, you need a puppy.
Bryce, check your email. No, did you guys have you heard about or checked out from Google Notebook LM?
No.
Okay, it's kind of interesting. So language model stuff, but you go and it's like this whole thing of, use your language model where you drop in a PDF or whatever. But what you do is you drop something in. It could be a PDF. It could be a URL. Push a button and it turns it into a podcast.
Oh, I saw that demo.
And I just made one about you guys' trip to the Middle East.
Cool.
And I just used the text from your email newsletter. And if you go to just go into Try Notebook LM and it'll.
Did you email it to us? How do we see what you made?
I emailed it to Bryce.
Okay.
Well, why didn't you send it to me? Send it to me. I'm sitting here sharing my screen.
Computer.
I'm pulling it up. Get in there.
Bryce, you got it? You share your screen.
Notebook LM. Get in there.
Cody, I sent it to you too.
All right.
Steele Willard.
Title
But,
notebook.
whoever, I thought it was his audio we were listening to, but
Let's go. Okay.
I got it. Share screen, untitled.
you just
share.
just hit play on the.
Okay.
on the
Don't keep me updated. All right. Play. Where do you hit play?
Do you trading with Cody?
Maybe that thing up in the top left, Cody.
The left, trading with Cody down, right there, and then click on all the way to the right. Notebook guide, bottom right. Okay, and then just press the there.
Load.
Click to what? The loading conversation. So okay, it is created. It's just loading it. So now you're gonna play. And go ahead.
Okay, so get this peace in the Middle East.
Peace.
Yeah, peace in the Middle East.
Mm.
I know, right? You think like, what?
It's not exactly the first thing that springs to mind.
No, it sounds about as likely as like finding a unicorn riding a camel through Times Square.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
Right.
So are we talking about some wild geopolitical fantasy here, or is there actually something to this?
Well, that's the thing. That's what we're diving into today. This
Wow.
unexpected perspective on peace in the Middle East.
All right, I'm intrigued. Lay it on me.
So our sources this time are a series of blog posts by Cody Willard and Bryce.
Okay, I know those names. They're investors, right?
Yeah, they run an investment firm, and they recently went to Abu Dhabi, Dubai, and Hong Kong.
Interesting combo. What
What
takes
the
investors to
hell?
those
This is
places?
amazing.
That's exactly what I thought. And here's the thing, Cody. He's a bit of a globetrotter, you know. But Bryce, this was his first time in that part of the world. Fresh eyes and all.
Ah, a newcomer's perspective. That can be really valuable.
This is
free
mind
from
This
blowing.
all
is
the
cool,
previous
John. This is
emotions.
cool.
Tell me about it. So get this. Bryce compares Abu Dhabi and Dubai to Vegas or Scottsdale.
Wait, really? I mean, I know the UAE is modern, but that's
I know, right? He was totally blown away by how modern and welcoming it was, like stepping into a familiar, globalized world.
that's fascinating though, because it really challenges the common perception of the Middle East, right? It's like they're
Uh-huh.
intentionally crafting this image of themselves as a global hub, not just some
Wow.
regional player.
And it's not just in his head. Bryce was talking about all the international brands, the shopping malls. He even found a Bloomingdale's.
Of course he did. Had to get that retail therapy in.
Right.
That's
But
not true,
seriously,
but-
it got me thinking, this isn't just about attracting tourists with fancy shops. It's way more strategic than that.
Exactly. They're playing the long game.
Yeah.
The UAE has set itself up as a tax haven. Add to that a legal system protecting startups, venture capitalists, tech talent from all seems unimaginable.
It's like that ripple effect, right?
Exactly. It sends a message of hope and possibility, and it inspires others to maybe take a chance on peace themselves.
So this deep
That was cool.
That's amazing.
Okay, I'll tell you what it took me to put that together. Before our call, I pasted in that text and I hit a button, and so at least.
So let's repeat. You took the article that Bryce wrote for Trading with Cody subscribers today that you got on an
Yep.
email.
Yep.
You copied and pasted it to Notebook at ML at
Yeah.
Google.
I also pasted in your website just as a reference.
Okay. And you're like, make a podcast about today's article based on this, the article and this website.
Yeah,
And
it
you
calls it. I think it calls it audio deep dive or something. But yeah, and it's just got right now not a lot of control. You don't get to say what to do with it, or
See,
it's
and
always-
Bryce, this is what we talk about all the time where I'm like, I don't care how smart we are. We can't picture all the ways that people are going to use AI to make cool shit, to make the world better, to make it safer, to make that like,
That was
I don't know that I would actually want to listen to that whole podcast, a fake podcast about my article, about Bryce's article on our website today. But the fact that it can be made that quickly
want
with
to.
that high,
I
with
think
that
it's
quality.
well done. I want to
I
listen.
thought it was well done. I thought like the conversation, like how he introduced the topic and she was intrigued, and then like it wasn't just like spilling its guts, right? It was-
No,
And I've
it
done
sounded
one
like
where
a professional podcast. Like it sounded like there'd been some producers sitting around writing that dialogue
Yes.
for two professional podcasters.
I took also, you could do stuff like take things that might have something to do with each other, but you don't know how. Like I had this research paper on cognitive architectures, all the ways of modeling the brain, and another one was on a different topic about improving yourself or whatever. And I put them both in there, and the talk went back and forth, finding interesting things about the commonalities. It's like
Amazing.
That's amazing. I'm glad you came back, John.
Yeah, that's worth the time we waited for.
I
you.
thought I was fired.
That
No, I can't fire the guy that we don't pay. So
What? Don't pay. You
for
said it
for
was in the
some,
email.
that's just the link to the Tesla book, by the way.
okay.
But for some people, like that podcast was 8 minutes or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
usually it's 15 or
Like
no,
that'd be very digestible content to like send out at the bottom of the article. Like, hey, if you can read the article or you can listen to this fake podcast.
Yeah, it'll make it's not fake.
Yeah.
It's you're gonna insult the thing. I think it makes a wave. Basically, it makes a wave file.
Yeah.
So Bryce, why wouldn't we do that? Why
That's what
wouldn't we
I
start
said. That's why I
doing
just
that at the bottom of every article?
Yeah. And then people or just put it at the top and say, listen to the podcast version instead of
Yeah, look for if there's a way to have it live somewhere that you have it, and then
I'm sure you can download it and then we just upload it to Ghost or
when you download it. Upload it.
the
Somewhere.
host with the most, Ghost.
Okay. Yeah, it's
figure it out.
it's because if you download if you're trying to share the audio file in your email, it's big. But if
Right.
you just put a
Yeah,
link,
no, we have a link to the audio file. Let's see right here.
Yeah.
Download. Yeah, I can download it. I can't share it, but I can download it and then
download it as a wave
it's-
file. Yeah.
and then that's easy to upload to any website.
Yeah, and it couldn't be easier to make it.
That is crazy, John. It did hallucinate there, though. I did not mention Bloomingdale's. That was a hallucination.
That I was going to ask. I don't remember the Bloomingdale's part.
No.
Did you talk about shopping or?
Yeah, definitely did talk about shopping and American brands, but I don't think I mentioned any, so it just made one up.
Oh, cool.
Like if I would have mentioned, like, I don't know.
Cartier
Yeah.
was what did we see everywhere? Sotheby's, Cartier.
Yeah, Louis Vuitton.
Yeah, Louis. I mean, literally, you couldn't walk out of your hotel room, Hong Kong, Dubai, or Abu Dhabi, and you weren't like surrounded by high-end Coach, Louis Vuitton.
I
you
like
name
how
it.
she said retail therapy. Right in there.
Yeah, that was
Get
fun.
in your retail therapy, you know.
Yeah. Bloomingdale's is not the same as Cartier, though.
No.
So they sort of missed that point
Yeah.
too. But yeah, no, that's absolutely fascinating. And again, it's like they just released that. Imagine in a year and a half when it's on its 8th update.
Yeah, I love the expression. That's the worst it will ever be.
That's the worst it'll ever be.
Great point.
Amazing.
And that's a Google product.
Yeah, it was the product had been out before, but this feature of it is brand new.
Mm,
Amazing.
don't
All right,
bet,
John.
don't
Well,
bet against Google.
Yeah. Stick with Google, I guess. All right, last words, last comments.
My last words are: it's time for me to do the traveling. I'm going to be in the Mediterranean, so
Oh,
it's
what are you
gonna-
doing? Travel or working or both?
Just vacation, and it's going to be Barcelona for 3 or 4 days, and then bouncing around. Is it Genoa or Genoa? But and
I say Genoa.
Sicily, Malta.
Malta.
Yeah, and all those times. Yeah. So anyway, gonna go check out a couple of places.
So
and
will you not be here next week?
I will not. And
All right. Well, we will do the call without you. Bryce, we're doing it.
Okay. Maybe we'll find a special guest or something.
we'll do it live.
Amazing. No, that's great, Bryce. Let's get us maybe we should
We have a few people we could reach out to.
yeah, it'd be fun. Or even get your guy that you were on the podcast to come do ours.
Yeah.
What was his name? Chris?
Chris Hendrick, his Belgium.
So, all right. Well, peace and love, everybody. Thank you for being here. The AI revolution cannot be stopped unless it doesn't work out and they don't generate enough money, and then it won't. So, it's tough. Just kidding. It's all going to work out.
It is. It's going to
Take
happen.
some time. It would be nice to have a fear, uncertainty, and doubt cycle, frankly, because then we can buy stocks that people hate before they actually get to the promised land.
Yeah.
I'll leave you with that. Bryce, you have any last words you want to throw out?
No, peace and hope.
Fei Fei Li. My
hope
last
for
words.
peace.
My last words are Fei Fei Li. So she is the researcher at Stanford that was I think her student was like the guy Andrei Karpinski, whatever from
OpenAI.
Yeah, so she just got $300 million just based on her name, and is starting a company around world models, like understanding everything from like a vision perspective and
Physical world.
yes, physical and virtual, but understanding worlds. Yeah.
Bryce, if the average NBA player makes $8 million a year now, and the average CEO of S&P 500 makes slightly less than that a year right now, I think it's reasonable that anybody who ever worked at ChatGPT in its first 5 years of existence gets a $300 million infusion money raise valuation. I think that seems totally in the realm of normalcy.
She was never there. She spawned the people who went there. So
Oh,
Okay, whatever. That's close enough. Like, yeah, you throw her money. Yeah, that's a no-brainer. Yeah. If who's the Jaguars quarterback? I was just reading an article about the long hair guy, Trevor Lawrence. If Trevor Lawrence is worth $60 million a year, if Dak Prescott's worth $60 million a year, That lady's company's worth 300 million.
Which is a better allocation of American capital too.
Yeah.
Arch Manning.
Arch Manning, there you go.
Mhm.
That if these stadium owners and football teams paid their own way, I'd have no problem. But they're not a free market. It's all subsidized with your tax dollars or Dak Prescott. Let's call it Tax Prescott, because the only reason he got that kind of money is because they taxed you.
Wow.
Hey, there is a football thing here. 3-peat for the Chiefs.
I don't think so. I mean, the only reason they would is Mahomes. He's the Jordan of this football generation. And by that, I mean, it's not just the talent, but the will to win. It is amazing how he gets those games won in the tight situations like Jordan used to. So if anybody will 3-peat, it'll be the Chiefs. But because obviously they won the last 2, so no one else did.
I will make a bet that no one else will 3-peat
Yeah.
this year.
This year.
I'm not taking the other side of it.
All right, I leave you guys with this thought. Do you know who trademarked the term 3-peat?
I did know this, and it's not the Chicago Bulls.
Pat Riley.
Hmm.
Pat Riley, the coach of the Lakers back in the 80s and 90s. He trademarked, after they won back-to-back, he trademarked the term 3-peat. As I'm saying that out loud, I'm wondering if, like, Snopes didn't exist back then. I think we better check this. I think I better just go right now. I feel like I'm going off something I've learned as a kid. It might not be true. Pat Riley 3-peat copyright. It's true. It is true. He secured a trademark for the term 3-peat,
According to Google.
according to Google. Search Labs
I
AI.
think what we really learned from this is that Cody still uses Google,
Yeah.
Yes, all day, every day.
not Perplexity.
No, I've never used Perplexity.
Okay, maybe you need to just give it a try before you reject it.
That's what I tell my daughter when we talk about eating beets.
Okay, maybe you need to eat beets.
Okay, I'll try some beets.
All right.
AI.
Do we want to do another round of final thoughts here, or are we done?
We can do another round. You're running the show now, Bryce.
I'm being sarcastic. I think we're done, unless John has something.
No, I'm good.
Goodbye, everybody. Thank you. We'll see you next Monday, 5 p.m. Eastern.
Thanks.
The AI Revolution.